has already completed 2.5 minutes, so about 30 seconds away from going back down to the grid to find out what's going to happen in race 2. Rob O'Neill, the last car in the lead lap in race 1, so we had 31 cars finishing on the lead lap. Shane Rabbit in the end finished 1 lap down in the end. I'm not too sure what happened to Shane because he was running well in race 1. He was right up there with some of the other guys in the early going. Rest of the cars on your screen there. Rob Barrable, he was in the pit lane earlier, then we saw him facing the wrong way on the pit straight, so he'll be hoping for better things in race 2, that's for sure.
Yeah, so a lot of the guys have a second chance at this one with the reverse grid. It should help them out quite. And we're heading into gridding up very shortly now. And apologies if the stream did drop out. I think it's back now. But we are about to go in for the reverse grid very shortly now, and Chris Bayes on that pole position. Chris and Colin, brothers as well. There's plenty of brothers in this championship, and again, these guys very experienced in Digital Motorsports Championships as well. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on from pole position. And we are going to have an interesting one, another 15-lap race, and as we mentioned so many times because we're very excited, it's the top 20 are inverted, which should make for some quite chaotic racing.
Yeah, we saw how good Jason Cooper was at the front of the field after setting the fastest time in the official qualifying session. Now he's going to be in the midfield somewhat, and now he's going to have to get his elbows out if he wants to get further up the field. The grid is on your screen now, Jack.
Well, then we have confirmation. Chris Bayes on pole position, Pat Masterson next to him, then Steen Ledger in third, Graham Quinn in fourth, then Niall Quinn just behind him fifth, Jordan Kelly, Dan Harper, Arya Siamantis, Evan Walsh and Dave Yamamoto are your top 10. And just outside that is Colin Bayes. Robert Moore in 12th place. And just outside that, I'll get it for you in a moment. But yeah, it's first and 11th are the two brothers. And we are about to get underway for the feature race with 5 red lights. It is Chris Bayes on pole position. And away we go for race number 2. Good start, Chris Bayes. Good start, Pat Masterson. Good start, Steen Ledger trying to get up the inside, trying to go up the middle of the two cars right here. Can he take the lead immediately? Steen Ledger with a brilliant start from the second row. Goes straight through to the lead into turn 1. Just cuts off Chris Bayes into turn number 1. Great start from him. Graham Quinn up to 3rd place. Pat Masterson drops down to 4th place. Niall Quinn 5th. Jordan Kelly 6th. Arya Siamantis 7th. Dan Harper in 8th. Evan Walsh and then Dave Yamamoto makes it up to 10th place right there. Great start, Steen Ledger straight up the middle. No holds barred and takes the lead immediately.
Well, things might not have gone his way in race 1, but Steen Ledger was off like a lightning bolt away from the line there, and he's now into the lead. Can he hold on to it? He's already got a bit of a second advantage. Here is Pat Masterson. He looks like he's trying to get past Niall Quinn straight away. Is he going to look up the inside here? No way through there in the early going. And now here comes the Jordan Kelly car up the inside. Looks like he's going to take advantage and get past Pat Masterson and up into 5th place. Oh, no.
Oh, consight man, Niall Quinn straight through to 3rd place. He's got a great start. Jordan Kelly straight through as well. 2 veterans of Digital Motorsport straight through. Jordan Kelly not had the best race last time out, but he wants to make up for that now. So then Chris Bayes just behind him from pole to 5th on lap number 1. Pat Masterson down to 6th. A little bit of bumping, and there's almost a bump and run from Chris Bayes. He just misjudges his braking point. Jordan Kelly goes off the road a little bit there, and looks like Graham Quinn has got to slow down, and he lets his brother straight through. Niall Quinn to 2nd place. Now Graham Quinn to 3rd. Pat Masterson into 4th place, and Arya Siamantis getting himself involved as well in 5th. And then Jordan Kelly just behind. Instead, he's dropped down. Actually, looks like he's got to slow down too. There's so much going on our screen right now. So many cars have got slowdown penalties. Cars are spread out all over. They're 3 abreast. Dan Harper up the inside of all those cars. Can he get through this door bagging behind as Graham Quinn has to fall down to 7th place? Dan Harper up to 5th place. Arya Siamantis makes his way through to 4th place as he chases after Pat Masterson. Can he get straight through to 3rd place? Now, yes, he can, because now Pat Masterson has got off the road at the bottom of the hairpin. There's absolute chaos happening already.
Craig Breen off in the gravel at the old hairpin. Race 2 is not going to go to plan for the World Rally Championship driver. That's a massive shame, but it looked like we might have had a few cars with damage or whatever. Oh, it's all kicking off now. More.
Robert Moore off in the gravel in the background. There's just too many cars on track to space. There's still 3 abreast as they make their way up the hill. Keith Dempsey up ahead. Damien Harris tries to get through there. There's just utter chaos happening. Davey Yamamoto's in the gravel now. This is what happens when you have 58 cars on track trying to fight for space.
Well, there's more cars go off. I thought 20 cars was a bit conservative, but, it's just caused absolute pandemonium as here comes Peter Dempsey, who's got Evan Walsh in front of him. We've got 2 laps in the books, and already up 11 places is Peter Dempsey. Keith Dempsey is up 11 places too. The Turn 3 Motorsport cars are turning it on here, and it might be more. It's Peter Dempsey straight up the inside of Evan Walsh. That's the Turn 3 Motorsport car up in 6th place now.
And Niall Quinn has taken the lead.
Yeah.
Niall Quinn is in the lead. We quite missed that. That's a brilliant start for Niall Quinn. Back to old ways. He's quite used to doing that, from starting kind of 5th place and surging through to the lead. But Niall Quinn is your new lead right here, with Steen Ledger in 2nd and Arias Yamantas, Dan Harper 4th and Jordan Kelly 5th. Not quite sure what happened to Jason Cooper, but he is obviously involved in that massive wreck that we just saw right there. But he has dropped down the field, and that has allowed the Dempseys to get themselves up into the top 10 now.
What a crazy start to the race it is, and Steen Ledger, he isn't out of it just yet. 0.4 of a second away from Quinn as they go down the back straight, but Targa Racing must be loving this. They have had a fantastic start to race 2, 4 places gained for Quinn. Through the chicane they go. They'll be hoping to keep this going forward, but it was a good run on the exit of the chicane there by Ledger, and he's got the slipstream as well of the Audi TCR car over the line. Let's see what the lap times are like. Niall Quinn does a 1:11.9, 1:12.8 for Ledger. That's a decent lap time. Kelly 11.9 so cars in the top 5 setting very decent laps. Off. Quinn runs a bit wide on the exit of Redgate, and that might pose an opportunity for Ledger.
Yeah, Steen is not letting go of the back of Niall Quinn right here, and all this battling might allow Arias and Dan Harper, who's looking really threatening behind him, to make their way up as well. Jordan Kelly sitting pretty in 5th at the moment, just running his lines. Peter Dempsey is there as well. Evan Walsh is 7th. Keith is 8th, and that'll be Chris Bays down to 9th. And Connor Murphy is up to 10th place after all of that carnage. Shane Burke, Olivier Van Herk, and Jason Cooper is now 13th. He has managed to get going now, but he is 13th. Kyle Stevens and Fraser Smith in 15th. So Arias Yamantas running inside the podium, doing an amazing job right there. But he's got Dan Harper and Jordan Kelly. He's got some very experienced drivers behind him. Let's see if he can hold them off for a fantastic result.
I'm sure Dan Harper knows his way around Donington Park, and he's got the final spot on the podium in his sights here as we go into the chicane. Yamantas, see if he can keep the number 33 car at bay. Harper gets a decent exit on the out of the chicane. Over the time line we go. On board with the Harper Racing car. Is he going to go up the inside? It looks like Ledger just in the front of that onboard shot has taken the lead back. Up the inside goes Harper, and he's now up into 3rd.
Yeah, just you saw how squirrely the car was. As you said, you are right. Steen Ledger has retaken the lead. We've got a great lead battle on our hands between Steen Ledger and Niall Quinn. This is going to go brilliantly. But now Dan Harper has cleared Arias Yamantas. Can he catch up to this 2-car train for the lead? We'll see in due course. But now Dan Harper from Arias Yamantas, Jordan Kelly now latching on to Yamantas ahead, and Keith and Peter are now together. That's going to be an interesting one to watch later on. But Niall Quinn latched onto the back of Steen Ledger. 15-lap race, 10 laps to go as we come across the line. There's not long to go, but Steen Ledger is your leader. Yeah,
we could see Dempsey's united here as they try to get past Jordan Kelly and Yamantas and try and join Dan Harper, who is trying to close down the gap, as you can see from the relative box in the bottom right-hand side of your screen. As Quinn gets slowed down on the brakes, the gap is 3.4 seconds, and I think we might just see roles reverse this time as we come onto the front straight. 0.2 of a second between Ledger and Quinn over the line to start lap 6. Will he go for the move into the first corner as he shifts up into 6th gear? No, he thinks better of it.
And you can just see how loose the back end gets as they come into there. They're fighting for every ounce of grip that they can find. But Niall Quinn, no stranger to racing, was a former test driver for A1GP back in the day. So he knows his way around Donington as well. Let's see how he can negotiate Steen, if he can. Steen is running his lines very, very well. Just a bit wide from Niall Quinn on the exit of the old hairpin. And just looking at the relative box, Harper is closing in, but not quite enough. With 10 laps to go, Niall's so late on the brakes into this next corner, then up the hill. But I think he's just going to have to wait for his opportunity.
Yeah, if you can leave your braking quite late and get a move done up the inside there, but Ledger positioned the car well, put it on the inside line, and there was nowhere for Quinn to go. Onto the back straight we go. Ledger moving over to the right just a little bit, maybe to stop Quinn picking up any sort of slipstream. And now this is the place where you can gain and lose a lot of time. It's the chicane. Quinn brakes very late, hop over that curb, hop over the next one, and back onto the front straight they go. It is a fantastic lap, and if you are a driver in this series, it is probably one of the most fun tracks on the iRacing service, just because of the way the circuit flows. No wonder it's a fan favourite of many. Make sure they don't hit that lap traffic. And Harper 1:11.8 I should say, so he is lapping just fractionally quicker than the guys in front, but with just over half the race still to go, it's going to take a bit more than that, I think, if he is to close in on him. Look at this fight though.
Oh, Jordan Kelly straight through an Arias Yamantas to 5th place. Peter Dempsey up to 4th place now, just behind Dan Harper. So he is up 14 places from where he started. It's not bad at all. Adrian Campbell gets out of the way, and now Jordan Kelly is latched onto Peter Dempsey, almost touching his bumper as they run up through the old aqueduct, trying to get up the inside. Aris Yamantas trying to fend off Keith Dempsey behind as well, trying to get the switch back. Behind them is Evan Walsh, who's doing a great job in 8th place at the moment. Up the hill they come once again. Peter now chasing after the other Turn 3 Motorsport car of Dan Harper. Now, Keith Dempsey on the back of Arias Yamantas down towards the chicane. He might be able to get this done. If Arias doesn't defend, he's going to move to the inside, show himself in the mirrors, make his intention very clear. Can he get it done on the brakes? Goes super late on the brakes, straight through. Keith Dempsey up to 6th place now, chasing after Jordan Kelly and chasing after Peter, who's also trying to latch onto the back of Dan Harper. But up front, it has not changed. It is still Steen Ledger from Niall Quinn, but they are still very close together. Dan Harper fastest of the top 3.
Yeah, we're 11 with 1:11.6. That was a new personal best of the race for him. Personal best all over the field. Here is Evan Walsh. He is just getting past Yamantas too. So within the space of a couple of laps, Yamantas, who had gained quite a few places in the early going, has drifted back to right where he started in 8th. He should be there for the time being though, because the next car was Colin Bays, who is 3.7 seconds away. But back to the fight for the lead, and there's almost an invisible tow rope between Ledger and Quinn. Almost, they are that close, and I'm sure the rear bumper of Ledger is quickly becoming a magnet for Niall Quinn, because there's no signs at all the Irishman disappearing, as we have just a couple of laps to go now. We are past the halfway point in this second race.
Yeah, this is exactly what we wanted from this championship. The guys running nose to tail for the lead. But either way, these guys have not taken a win in this series, of course. So it will be interesting to see who's going to claim the honours in the first feature race of the season. Jason Cooper taking the heat race win, but he has not had the best of times. He's down to 11th place after a huge wreck. But it is still Steen Ledger from Niall Quinn on this lap, and Dan Harper behind. Very quick again, 1:11.6. But Peter Dempsey, 1:11.3. But Keith Dempsey at 1:11.0 behind. He's flying in that trend, but he's stuck behind these guys. It's not really helping this case, and there's not a lot of laps left to try and get past. And is he having to think about going past Jordan Kelly right there? With the yellow trim on his car, he's going to go through on the old hairpin straight up the inside. Bravery of the next level from Keith Dempsey. Can he get it done? Jordan Kelly on the cutback on the outside, not going to quite be able to get alongside. He's going to have to think about it, but Keith just closes the door. That was very, very brave stuff from Keith Dempsey.
Contender for move of the race meeting, that. Very brave by Keith Dempsey up the inside, and for the last couple of laps the two Dempseys have been separated, but now they're right back together again. 4th and 5th, both gaining 14 places. It's going to be tough, but I reckon if they could just hang with Daniel Harper, then they could be maybe within touching distance of the top 2 by the time the race comes to an end. The gap between 2nd and 3rd is now down to 2.8 seconds, as Harper continues to take a little bit of chunks every few laps out of Ledger and Quinn, who are still 0.3 of a second apart at the front of the field.
But now it's going to be interesting to see how the Turn 3 Motorsport cars work with each other. They're all together now. Peter Dempsey up the inside, takes 3rd place away from Dan Harper. Now Dan with the cutback. Is he going to fight with his teammates here on the outside line? It's going to be tricky enough. Dan Harper is trying to hold on to 3rd place for all his might, but Peter Dempsey is still alongside. They've run down through the old hairpin. There's almost contact, but there just isn't. I don't know how they didn't make contact through there, but Dan Harper holds on for now. But Peter Dempsey with the switchback now. Keith Dempsey's involved as well. He's going to try and follow his brother through on the outside line. Dan is just going to run out of space right here as Peter Dempsey sweeps around the outside, takes the inside for the next corner. Keith's going to follow him through with some great driving right here. Jordan Kelly's trying to follow him through as well, and Peter Dempsey and Keith Dempsey take Dan Harper in one swift move right there, and Evan Walsh goes through to 6th place in the background. Great racing.
Wow, fantastic. That was touring car racing at its best there. And Dan Harper, who was 3rd at the beginning of the lap, now shuffled back down to 5th, and he's got the VRA Racing duo right behind him now into the final chicane. That is Evan Walsh and Jordan Kelly hopping over the curbs again and onto the front straight. The two Dempseys have checked out now. They are away, and they might now be the two that can try and close the gap to the guys in front. Over the line we go to start lap 11. If they're going to close the gap, which is 2.5 seconds, they're going to have to be quick about it. But 15 places gained for these guys. They were right at the front in race 1, and are doing just the same here in race 2 with 4 laps to go at the end of this one.
Yeah, not quite sure what happened to Niall Quinn, but he's dropped a second off the back of Steen Ledger up front as well. You can just see the gap has increased. Now, I'm not sure if he's had a problem or something, but it's up to 1.2 seconds. But the Dempseys are now working with each other. This is exactly what we want to see. The pure team tactics from the brothers working together now as they try to close up to Niall Quinn in the background. That was Peter trying to fend off from Keith. They are not working together. I just mince my words right there. Keith Dempsey goes through to third place. There must have been contact there between the brothers.
Never mind brotherly love, sibling rivalry. This is more like as Dempsey, Keith Dempsey that is now up into P3, deposing his brother Peter. And now look at that, Daniel Harper's managed to get back onto the rear of these guys again, so he might try to shuffle the pack a little bit into the final chicane. Look at that flying over the curbs there, and has got a very decent run. Let's see if we can get it into the red gate. Over the line we go, onto lap 12. New personal best again from the top two. Ledger and Quinn, they are checking out at the front. Keith Dempsey, 1 minute 12. No sign of Harper up the inside into red gate though.
He's having to think about it though, but he's got to fend off Evan Walsh, who is very and looks like he's got a switch back. Dan Harper straight through on Peter Dempsey. I think that might have been letting him through. And Evan same who just had a little bit of a run down towards the old hairpin. Can Evan find his way through? To be great if he could get a top 5 finish here for Evan Walsh. Arius Imantas had latched onto this as well. He fell back earlier on, but he's now latched onto the back of them again. Steen Ledger checking out up front. He's not got many laps left to go, but he could have a late charge from Niall Quinn and from Keith Dempsey, because Niall Quinn is latching back onto him up front as well. It's going to be really interesting to watch. This is going to be a thrilling finish.
Really is, and the gap is coming down as well between Ledger and Quinn, and there's still plenty of time for Quinn to get to the front. But look at this fight going on for the remaining spots inside the top 10. Evan Walsh up 3 places. A top 5 for him on the opening race meeting of the season would be fantastic for him. Started down in 9th place. He's gained those 3 places to get up to 6th, and could potentially get a top 5 if he can get past Peter Dempsey. Over the line onto lap 13 then, 3 laps to go, including the one we're on, and it's all line astern in the fight for a spot in the top 5 and maybe even a spot on the podium as well.
Yeah, Niall Quinn on 111.3. He's taking another couple of tenths out of Steen Ledger up front. I think there's only half a second between them now. He's back on it. The battle for the lead is back on, and I think he's going to be lapping somebody very shortly as well. So Niall, whatever happened to him earlier, he's latched back on. Could have been saving his tyres a little bit, but again, there's only 2 laps to go as we come across the line. Can Niall Quinn steal a win here? It's going to be so interesting to watch as we run up the hill. On board with Niall Quinn once again at the top of the circuit, trying to get past Steen Ledger for this win, trying to get the run down the back straight here into the last chicane. Is he going to be able to do it with 2 laps to go? He's still going to have to bide his time. Pulls himself out, shows himself in the mirror. He's just letting Steen know he's there. Not going to quite go late on the brakes there. Hops the curbs again, and we go on to lap 14 of 15.
2 laps to go then. Steen Ledger can almost reach out and touch the checker flag and maybe even taste a bit of champagne as well. They're coming up to sub-lap traffic, which might pose a few issues, especially through this section of the circuit, the Craner curves and the old hairpin. We'll have to wait and see. Ledger almost getting out onto the dirt. We saw him do that at the old hairpin and he lost a ton of time. Fortunately there, he doesn't lose too much, and that remains 0.3 of a second as we plunge back down the hill again.
Steen just taking a bit of a defensive line into the old hairpin here, and they've got to deal with this lap traffic of Tony Stack and David Budrys very shortly, who are embroiled in a battle of their own. Now Niall's got a great run out of the old hairpin up the hill. He's going to think about a move. He's going to move to the inside line, goes late on the brakes up the inside of Steen Ledger. Can he take the lead? Yes, he can. Niall Quinn is your new leader on lap 14 of 15, but this battle is not over. Steen Ledger still vying for this win, but Niall Quinn has only got one more lap to go as they come across the line, and Peter Dempsey's been in the wall. Peter Dempsey has lost his rear wing. What has happened to Peter?
Well, I hope it wasn't anything involving his brother, but here's a replay. Now this is the VRA cars.
Oh dear. Yeah, that was not exactly what Peter wanted, but that was a massive off at the bottom of the old hairpin into the back of the tyre barrier there. That's not exactly what he wanted at this, but a bit of a shame for Peter. But Steen Ledger is back in the lead.
Where's Niall Quinn?
He's dropped back again. What has happened to Niall? He's down to 9th place.
Oh well. Now this is at the final chicane. Oh, lap traffic. Oh dear. Just when Niall Quinn had taken the lead, who's that, number 31, David Budrys, I hope I got that name right, but that's a disaster for Niall Quinn.
Through no fault of his own. It's such a shame. But Dan Harper into third. Keith Dempsey will get to second. But Steen Ledger, he got helped out a little bit with lap traffic. But Keith is not far off the back of him. You can kind of see he's 1.1 off the back, but he's just going to run out of laps, as you can see. But Steen Ledger just got one more chicane to negotiate, and he will take the first feature race win through the last chicane. Just to be careful to hop the curbs, doesn't do anything stupid across the line. Steen Ledger wins the first feature race of the season, the Digital Motorsports TCR Cup. Great win from him. Keith Dempsey finishes second, and Dan Harper rounds up the podium, and Evan Walsh with a brilliant fourth place. Must just missed out on the podium. They're very close between them. Jordan Kelly in fifth, Arias Humanta sixth, and Jason Cooper recovers to 7th place, and Chris Bayes 8th, and Niall Quinn, he must be gutted, 9th place after fighting for the lead in the last lap. Just didn't go his way.
What a shame for him. Great result for Steen Ledger, fantastic drive from him, and in the end he was able to avoid the lap traffic and take the win. Got a feel though for Niall Quinn, who had just taken the lead when we were watching it on the penultimate lap, but in the end it's Dempsey that finished second, you're right, and Dan Harper completing the podium. And what a fantastic second race that was. What a fantastic opening meeting to the season we've had.
Yeah, it's going to be a great championship at this rate. 2 different winners in the 2 feature races, and the reverse grid certainly brings another element to it. But 2 different winners. Jason Cooper and Steen Ledger, 2 brand new winners as well, so well done to them. But yeah, the Dempsey's really fighting it out, and unfortunately Peter getting caught up in an incident, and then Niall unfortunately just hitting lap traffic at the wrong time. Just a bit of a shame, but these TCR cars are just brilliant for this type of racing.
And I think this track lends it to some great racing as well. We couldn't have picked a better circuit to get the evening up and running. And we've had 2 fantastic races and 2 worthy winners in the end. Jason Cooper, race 1, led from lights to flag, had a really comfortable lead, and Steen Ledger, he had to fight with Niall Quinn, but even with the issue for Quinn at the end, Ledger was still a worthy winner, and it sets us up nicely for the rest of the campaign, as here are the results on your screen.
Confirmation of results then. Steen Ledger wins the first feature race with Keith Dempsey finishing in second, and Dan Harper gets his first podium there. Evan Walsh, brilliant result in 4th place. Jordan Kelly in 5th. Just looking at the gap between Dan Harper and Evan Walsh, that's a couple of hundredths right there. That was very close across the line. Jordan Kelly in 5th, Arias Humanta 6th, Jason Cooper recovers to 7th place, Colin Bayes finishes in 8th, Niall Quinn in 9th, and Shane Burke gets into 10th place with Simtech Racing. Olivier Van Herk then in 11th, Brian McManus in 12th, Damien Harris in 13th, and Conor Murphy in 14th, Fraser Smith 15th, Kyle Stevens in 16th, Devi Yamamoto comes across in 17th place, and James Holman in 18th place. And then further down, 19th place, Owen Murray finishes in 19th. Ronan Haderman in 20th. Robert Moore in 21st. Shane Rabbit 22nd. Wayne Douglas 23rd. Sergio Grabman in 24th. Max Turley finishes 25th. Rob O'Neill 26th. Aaron Kerry in 27th. Tony Stack in 28th. Then Naveed Hussain in 29th. Alex Denning in 30th. Peter Dempsey is classified as 31st. David Budrez in 32nd. Adam Dowling, Simon Wall, Damien McMullen, Patrick McKenna, Jack Byrne, and Dave Collier 38th. And I think these guys would have been non-finishers, unfortunately. But yeah, a bit unfortunate for them. Craig Breen, I think, was a non-finisher in this one, down in 45th. And just run through the driver list: Brian Negan, Adrian Canfield, Nicky Meredith, Chris Bayes, Pat Masterson, Graham Quinn, Craig Breen, Keith Rabbit, Keen Carey, and Peter McCann in 48th as classified. But yeah, that is round 1 all done and dusted, and it is a full UK calendar from what I understand. We're not quite sure of the order of it just yet, but it has been Donington. We're heading to Brands Hatch. We're heading to a couple of other ones as well, but it's gonna be brilliant, and we're gonna round out this stream here. So thank you, Adam, for joining me. Thanks to Samuel for working hard on the cameras as always. And join us next time for round 2 of the Digital Motorsports TCR Cup. Thanks for watching us on Apex Racing TV and on the iRacing Esports Network. Make sure you subscribe to both of those, and we will see you next time out for the next round of the Digital Motorsports TCR Cup. Thank you, and good evening.